Bonjour, bienvenue au French Tech Podcast. Welcome to the French Tech Podcast here at the second day of the Big Data World Conference in Singapore. I'm very happy to welcome Jana from She Loves Data and Arnaud from Meiro here at the show. Could I ask you both, starting with you, John, to please quickly introduce yourselves.
I've been in the tech industry for 20 years, dealing with data, working for large corporation software companies, more on the transactional side. And about 5-6 years ago, I moved into more social media analytics and to the digital world of data. And with Meiro, which I'm co-founder of, we are merging these two transactional and digital data worlds together. And about 3 years ago, we've started another movement which promotes diversity in tech and data, which is called She Loves Data.
Very interesting. We'll talk more about that initiative later.
Yeah.
How about you?
Hi, so thanks for having us first. So I have a quite diverse background. I've done like 6 years of strategy consulting, working with like large corporations mainly, both in Europe and in Asia. And after that, I've been living the startup life, starting with Uber and then a social media listening company in Thailand, and now working at Meiro in charge of growing the business in the region.
So what is it that Meiro does exactly?
So to me, Meiro was a way to bring the Uber data philosophy to any company in the world. What I mean is Uber was built with the idea that data was key, and all the technology was built around that. And during my time as a consultant, I've noticed that, well, most of the companies didn't build their IT with the same logic, right? And can't blame them. And they end up having a lot of legacy systems, talking of like core banking system, loyalty systems, all of that. And I truly believe the power of like integrating all of your data in one place, and that's exactly what Meiro enables. We come with whatever context, landscape you have in terms of data. We just put it all in one place, and then allows anyone on the business side to very easily consume this data to start making decisions based on data. And what is really interesting is when we just had a workshop this morning and we were asking to people like, how do you build your persona and how you engage with people? And they're like, oh, that's just my feeling of what my clients are looking like. And we're like, but do you back it up by any data? And they're like, no, we don't. So because you're a male between 30 and 40,
Right.
then all the male between 30 and 40 should be behaving the same way. And you're like, that's nonsense. Maybe my behavior is closer to Jana's behavior for whatever reasons. But just look at the data and then you know.
So could you try to give us a sense of the scale of the impact that it has moving from being a traditional company to a data-driven company?
Sure. I mean, we've seen company having their decision cycle going from 7 weeks to 1 week. So between the moment where the CEO is like, oh, what's happening there? Like you have someone who's like running, trying to get the data everywhere, and come back 7 weeks. With like the right platform in place, it takes 1 week, and 1 week is actually not to get the data; it's to schedule the next meeting with the CEO to make a decision.
Right.
So the data is like instantly.
Yeah.
We've seen like revenue increasing like up to 10% just by starting using data, and I think it's going to go even further because when you look at the customer survey, around 75% of them are saying that personalization of the engagement is more important than the price itself. So that's really changing that. And we've seen also a big change in terms of online marketing cost, in the sense where you stop doing like mass marketing and you start doing really targeted, so you can really reduce your spend and you have the same return on that. So that's when the big debate around the return on investment of marketing is becoming a bigger and bigger topic. That's where we come into play, because by aggregating all of this data and even being able to track your customer from online to offline, so you do online marketing and they go by offline, by using some data we're able to track that, so you get a much better view on what's your ROI, and then you know if you're doing the right thing or not. And you can do some A/B testing and all of that.
Yeah, well, that's such a giant question, right? The question around the ROI, to know that you're spending your dollars in the right place.
That's a massive thing, and we were even talking with a tech company the other day, and then they were like, oh no, we believe it's like that, and we're like, oh, do you have data to show that? And they're like, no, and we're like, oh, well, let's use our platform and let's show you that. And he was like, that's not at all what I believe. So that's really interesting to see even tech companies are being like sometimes forgetting about data. And so the only way I look at it is, let's look at your data and maybe we can give you an ID. I'm not saying data is always right. I truly believe that we need to keep being qualitative about what we do.
Yeah.
And that's why what my recommendation is always do like some A/B testing. Like I got this brilliant idea. If I do that, it's going to work. Okay, let's take a small panel of my customer. Let's try that. Let's see if it works. If it works, let's scale.
Exactly,
if it doesn't work, let's do something else. But if you don't have the right solution that gives you very quickly access to this data to do the right segment, then, well, good luck.
And if your decisions are data-driven, you'll know when to scale and when not to, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, you
That's
can
perfect.
actually measure, and you have tangible elements to do it, instead of just being like very qualitative, which is like, well, the wind is coming from the right, so let's do that. And it's like, why?
Yeah. So this is, of course, in the region a particularly hot topic, right? Getting conversion, getting information on that dollar that you spend in a particular place rather than another, with all the growth and all the opportunities here in the region. So there's there's ever-growing demand for data scientists, for data engineers. And that's also where you come in, right? Because talent here in the region is particularly hard to find.
It's everywhere. Everywhere is a problem, you know. Everywhere you go in the world, you hear complaints that there are not enough of data scientists, data analysts. The data talent is really scarce. And that's what we do with She Loves Data. We believe that you need to have a diversity around the table when you talk about data. And as we run those type of discussions with Meiro, with our clients, you know, often we come to the point where people say like, yeah, but we need to have more data analysts, data scientists. Data literacy is a big topic today. Digital literacy for any organization is an issue. Because as Arnaud rightly pointed out, organizations are now data-driven, and they are enabling access to the data to business users, to people who are not having any particular tech background, but they are supposed to know how to ask questions and mine those questions with the help of data. And what we see, you know, with, for example, women, they often feel a little bit intimidated when they don't know something 100% about technology and data. And we often, in the discussions we have with our clients, saw that women backed up when there was suddenly a technical issue on a table to discuss. They felt like, okay, my male colleagues will take over from me now.
Oh, right.
And what we said is like, you know, look, don't do that, because if you are not taking part of those technology and data focused discussions, you might not have a job in 5 years, because data is everywhere. And it's not only, you know, a question for people that work in IT or people that work in operations. Data is a part of any function in the organization. Organizations are now taking data strategies as a part of their business strategies. And data is going to play, as we go, even more important role in any kind of decision making and, you know, in business strategy. So we thought, like, we were complaining about it. We said, like, we need to see more women, you know, and where are they? You know, why are they actually worried about, you know, contributing to those discussions? And then one day we said, okay, let's create an environment which is judgment-free, safe environment for women to come in and learn about data and technology. And we put together a one-day workshop. Because when you say data, what do you learn if you don't want to be a coder? There are many, you know, coding girls and women in tech, you know, teaching women coding. And it's very kind of hip, but not everyone wants to be coder. Technology is not about coding only. So what we did, we said, like, let's explain what data is about. Let's do it in an environment that is promoting this topic rather than making people feeling, okay, I don't know this, so I cannot really join the group. And we set it up 3 years ago here in Singapore, such a workshop. We put it on a social media, and we had 500 women registered in next few days. So we realized that this is a burning issue everywhere. And after the first successful workshop, we could not just stop. Because if we have stopped, you know, it's just you shout and then you shut up again, and then that's it, you go your way. So we continued, we set up another workshop. Now 3 years later. We have a community of close to 7,000 women who came through our workshops in the region. We've been, this is purely volunteering activity, so we always come to a new place, we look for volunteers, we build the community by setting up workshops, setting up meetups that are discussing topics like what is data-driven, what is AI, what is machine learning, why do you need data engineering for a good data analytics. We talk as well about marketing, which is today a technology discipline. In marketing, and this is coming back to Meiro, that's what we saw. A lot of marketers, they have very traditional education, which is not tech-oriented. But today, with marketing, where you generate in different systems so much of customer data, which you need to handle, put together, consolidate, and act on so you can talk in a personalized way with your clients, the marketers feel not equipped with enough of information about technology and data. So we try to look at these areas and build a content that is relevant for those people, and specifically women, because we feel this is where the potential is.
You know, an untapped resource, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the point is, what was so amazing is when we started to talk to some women, there were many of them that had no technical background, but they had this urge of learning. They would go and learn online, some coding, and then they said, but how do we get jobs now if we want to shift the career? And you had yesterday here a few people from the community who actually managed to shift the career and started to build a data career. So this is encouraging us to continue. So we now have 10 chapters from Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, all the way to California. And because this is just a volunteering activity, non-profit, we are looking for supporters. And it's amazing to see here at the Big Data World, companies like Visa, like Citibank, like DBS coming in and really supporting us big way. Because I think they see the incredible potential that this movement has.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing what you're doing. We're really responding to a burning need in the market on both sides of the equation, right? And as you say, it was great to hear some success stories, hear some stories about people who have really shifted their career and enriched their lives with all of the new skills that they've acquired through She Loves Data.
Fantastic. I think, it's like you today you have to upskill yourself. You cannot just say like, okay, I've started something 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and then it's going to stay like that. You have to have a possibility to learn new things. Technology is evolving so fast. There is a vast amount of data everywhere. So from every perspective, you need to be in a position that, upskilling is so important for everyone. So if we are building this platform for women to upskill themselves in tech and data, and we see that maybe 5% of them are changing their careers into more tech-focused jobs, then we did something right. And and it's great to have this purpose. Wake up in the morning and hearing stories like that. There was this one woman. I had a call in New Zealand from one of the large consulting companies, and she called me and she said, like, we want to support you because I got a job because of She Loves Data. I attended workshops some time ago, and when I put it into my CV, and they called me up and they said, we know about this movement, and we want to talk to you because you have the right attitude. Because it shows that she's learning. She wants to upskill herself. So sometimes it's not about the hard skills, but as well about the attitude.
The attitude. And what you're saying about people being able to get real jobs, right, through these workshops and through the skills that they acquire there it's not just talk, because in Meiro, you actually onboard a lot of the people from your workshops as well, right?
Yeah, we work a lot with digital marketers, right, Arnaud?
Yeah, we do. It's a great network. Now we have a problem at Meiro is that there is not enough men in Singapore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, our data analytics.
We should start workshops.
Yeah, we should start like he loves data. I don't know. No, I think it's a great thing.
He loves data too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's great actually. I mean, I've attended a few of the She Loves Data event, and it's also great to see more and more men attending. I think it's great that like the network is not like it's only women and like because that would be creating like a border again, which doesn't really make sense because the idea is to really open.
We have to be inclusive.
Yeah, it's inclusive.
Exactly.
And so it's great to see more and more men like attending the She Loves Data event because it's just about sharing and learning at the end of the day with a focus towards women. And definitely at Meiro we talk with a lot of like digital marketers, and it's great to have so many women who start to better understand what's happening. And actually, today it doesn't make a difference for me. Like, I mean, if it's a woman or a man today, it's just about the level of education and knowledge that the person has around data and the level of education that is required. But I think what is really important for everyone to understand is what we do at Meiro The technology part, it's the easy part. The really hard part
Right.
is when you need to change your organization. Is your organization ready to start using data?
Mm.
Does your team have the right skills? Are
Yeah.
they ready for it? Do they have the right mindsets?
Yeah.
And that's where like organizations like She Loves Data are really changing the area, because we are getting people ready for it. And not scared,
Yeah.
because like very often when you come up with something new is scary for like many people, especially if they've been in their position for like 25, 30 years. They don't want
Exactly.
to learn anything new. And by having like organization like She Loves Data, you can show that it's not dangerous. It's just like the same. It's just a bit different, but it's easy to adjust. And I think that's where most of the organization needs to spend a lot of energy in the next few years to get their teams ready for that.
Data
terrific,
literacy
yeah.
again.
Data literacy
Yeah.
at scale.
At scale, absolutely. We had a panel discussion an hour ago downstairs about data literacy in a large corporation. And one of the banks actually mentioned that they started 2 years ago and they still continue. It's an
wow.
ongoing
Yeah.
process. It's not a one-off. And I think many large corporations are looking at, how do we actually raise the data
Yeah.
and digital literacy. And the inspiration we get, to those organizations is like, look, if we can do it, you can do it as well.
Exactly. That's a great message to end on. Okay, thank you both very much for sharing your insights. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I hope you're having a good time here at the conference.
It's fantastic. It's been really great, and we see many women actually come in here. So that's so unusual for a tech conference. So.
Fantastic.
No, it's definitely a great event. Met a lot of like very interesting people, really engaging discussions and exchanging of ideas. So like definitely we'll be back.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.